Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. This is going to be a little different from my normal videos. There are not going to be any tarot cards, decks, or spreads, or oracle cards or decks in this one. This is going to be focusing on gratitude. Now, why am I focusing on gratitude? Well, for one thing, it's important, but in a previous video, I had mentioned that there was another video on my channel about gratitude, but then when I looked at my playlist, I noticed it wasn't there. And that's an oversight. It's an oversight because it's a very important topic. And I thought that I had already recorded a video about this because I have taught this topic in classes several times. So I just assumed I had already done it. So friends, if you are interested in diving into gratitude, then stay tuned. I'll be right back. Friends, this video, as I said, is a little different from my normal video. And it's different in another way. When I usually teach gratitude, I have tools around me. I have my PowerPoint behind me to refer to and to help keep my discussion in logical progression. I have books around me, I have a lot of things to help me, and I'm stripped down from that. Instead, what I have done is I've printed out my notes, and they're in front of me and a little bit beside me. So I'm going to be referring to those notes. Please be aware. Now, gratitude. Why is gratitude important? But first, let's talk about intention, because this channel, whether you're aware of it or not, is based on living the intentional life, living life intentionally. And I use tarot cards and oracle cards and spreads to help me explore topics related to that. But the main focus of the Hanged Man in the Moon, a different perspective based in intuition, the Hanged Man in the Moon, is living life intentionally. But what do I mean when I say intention? It can mean many things to many different people. For some people, intention can be a goal or an aim and working and striving towards that goal. That's not what I'm talking about. For some people, the intentional life is a life that is stripped down to bare essentials or is living more in line with the environment, and that's all wonderful, and it can be included in what I'm speaking of, but that isn't what I'm speaking of. When I use the word intention, I mean a force. I don't mean forcing, but a force, like a force field, a flow of energy, a stream of energy, if you will, that flows from the non-physical or spiritual realm through to this physical realm. And if you want to think of it this way, and I think it is an appropriate way to think of it, this entire universe was created through intention. In the non-physical realm, spirit had an intention of creating, and the flow of intention through thought form into physical matter was how this universe began and continues to be created. This universe is in the process of continual creation. And intention is what guides spirit, God, the universal consciousness, whatever you want to call that mind, that being that created the universe. Intention is what guides attention into physical form, into this physical stuff, and to the experiences that we have in the physical realm. So intention is the stream, the force that moves us in the direction of manifestation, of creating the life, the relationships, the experiences, the physical stuff and the not so physical stuff that we want to create for ourselves. So, what does gratitude have to do with intention? Well, gratitude is part of an emotional scale. To live life the most intentionally, we need to be in the most allowing state. And to be in the most allowing state, we need to have the most open, the most free, the highest, if you will, emotional state. Emotions like love, joy. Well-being can be an emotional state. Awareness, pure awareness, can be an emotional state. And if we think of our emotions in a scale, and our emotions are not actually in a scale, but it's a way to conceptualize our emotions from positive to negative. And at one end of that scale could be love and joy and pure awareness and absolute well-being. And at the other end of the scale could be depression, powerlessness, absolute lack of energy. And there are emotions that are between them, and the human mind likes to categorize them into things like anger, frustration, irritation, belief, or optimism, gratitude, appreciation, and then love, joy. Those are our human constructs. But there are two directions that emotions are moving in, and one is more negative and one is more positive. And we usually would place at the highest end of the human experience pure love, pure joy, pure awareness, and pure well-being. So the more we are in the area of those emotions, the more open we are and the more we are taking advantage of the power, the force, the movement of intention towards the life that we create every moment of every day. We're constantly creating the life we want to live, and intention is constantly flowing in that direction. So the question is, how much are we allowing ourselves to move with that flow of intention? And one way to check that is with our emotions. How close are we to love? The closer we are to love, joy, the more open we are and the more we know we are moving in the direction of the life we want to live. The more we are in the area of powerlessness and depression and rage has more energy, but in those absolute non-energetic states of emotion, the more we know that we are resisting the flow of intention towards the life we want to live. So, our emotional state is a gauge for how much we are allowing ourselves to move in the direction of what we want, or how much we are fighting the current. Frankly, expecting ourselves to live in love, joy, and pure awareness is a very high goal, if you will. And I don't like goals. We don't want to have goals. We shouldn't expect ourselves to be in that state in these physical bodies. We came into these physical bodies to have a range of experiences, to find out things that we like and create more of those things, find out things that we don't particularly like, and allow them to move out of our experience. And we have various reactions to them. And some of those are joyful, loving reactions, and some of them are not. Some of them are anger, some of them are fear, and some of them can lead to depression. And again, getting to love and joy and well-being and pure awareness can be difficult, can be next to impossible, because it's too far of a leap from where we are right now. If we're sitting in anger, if we're sitting in rage, if we're sitting in fear, expecting the next moment for us to move into joy, love, pure awareness, well-being, is an next to impossible task, and would be a very unsettling shift if we could make that huge leap. Gratitude, however, my experience has been, and the experience of others has been, that gratitude is one of the purest emotional states that we can more deliberately move towards. And developing a practice of gratitude helps us to form a base that we can return to and then launch off of to move closer towards joy, towards pure awareness, towards love, towards well-being, that state of temporary or prolonged enlightenment and openness to the flow of our intention. Gratitude can be an attainable goal, an attainable level, and a level that can launch us towards higher, more open emotional states. So gratitude, I have found, has been a wonderful tool as well as an emotional state. Gratitude is the easiest state for us to develop and maintain. I have been able to move from grump, effing grump to gratitude fairly easily, with focus, with intention. I've been able to move from frustration to gratitude. And then once I got stable in gratitude, start moving a little bit higher. And gratitude is already a fairly open state. Don't get me wrong. Gratitude is a fairly open state to the power of our intention. Deep feelings of gratitude are the best. Deep feelings of gratitude. Again, we're looking for feelings here. Gratitude, saying thank you, is polite, but it's not the kind of gratitude that I'm speaking of. Thinking grateful thoughts is wonderful and can help, but the gratitude that is the baseline is an emotional state. It's a feeling state. And we don't have to expect to reach that deep feeling state of gratitude right away. Like I said, moving from anger, irritation, frustration, to a deep feeling state of gratitude is also very difficult. However, we can move to the mindset of gratitude and practice that and get more comfortable within that, and that will help bring us to the emotional state. A practice of gratitude can be as beneficial as a regular meditation practice. Now, meditation can sometimes be difficult to achieve. I mean, we can sit down and intend to meditate and sometimes not get there. And when I'm saying not get there, I'm not saying that we're expecting no mind, pure, open, blissful meditation. Thoughts are still going to occur. Things are going to arise. And that is still meditation. Being aware of those things arising, being aware of the thoughts arising is still meditation. However, there are also times when we don't get even there, where we sit down to meditate and all we have is tension and closedness and sometimes anger. And so what we do is we breathe into that anger, breathe into that frustration, and try to accept it. And that can be very difficult. That can be very difficult. A practice of gratitude can help smooth that over. A practice of gratitude can help bolster our practice of meditation as well. Research has shown, scientific research has shown that gratitude can also have a physiological and psychological effect. It can alleviate light to mild depression. And gratitude, having a practice of gratitude and having that practice to turn to can alleviate those periods for some of us who fall into depression. It can help. It can help. Because it helps to ease us out of that powerless state. It can also improve our sleep. It can lower high blood pressure and improve cholesterol. Why? Because gratitude helps to relieve stress. And high blood pressure, cholesterol problems are often stress-related. And gratitude can help ameliorate, that's a word that's not coming out, can help soften stress, which can also improve sleep and deep sleep patterns. It also seems to improve our emotional regulation. Not only raising our emotional state, but also improving our emotional regulation and self-motivation by modifying or controlling regions of our brains. Have you ever heard of neuroplasticity? If you haven't, that might be something to research. Our brains do not stop developing when we are 5 or even 18 years old. Our brains retain a level of ability to modify themselves. Now, meditation is one way to help the brain restructure itself and repurpose areas to other purposes. Some people, you've heard of this, where a person who has lost one sense will compensate with another sense by having the area that controlled the sense that is now gone being repurposed to, for example, instead of eyesight, to hearing or to touch. Our brains can repurpose themselves, and gratitude, a regular practice of gratitude, can help us to reorganize and shift the way we use our brains and the way that our brains are interconnected. It can also be the portal to higher and purer emotions, like I said, and that is scientifically researched, such as love and joy. There's scientific research that a gratitude practice can help us access those, what I am calling, higher emotional states more easily. And that makes sense, doesn't it? That if we develop the practice and we can ease ourselves into the deeper feeling of gratitude, that we will have more ready access to love, joy, well-being, pure awareness. Rhonda Byrne, have you heard that name? She was very popular, especially around 2009. Rhonda Byrne was a video creator as well as an author. I think she's still alive. And one of her books, there are 3 that she wrote that are the most popular. One of her books is called The Magic. And I will insert a photo of the cover of the jacket here. Have you seen this book? Have you read this book? This book is brilliant in one way. It gives you a wonderful, an absolutely wonderful 28-day program to develop a gratitude practice. It gives you small steps to perform every day to develop a very broad gratitude practice that you will be able to modify for yourself and find things that work for you, things that don't work for you, and create a gratitude practice that matches your needs and your personality and your style of life or lifestyle. So I highly recommend this book. One very simple practice that I'd like to mention here is to keep repeating thank you. When I am at my lowest, my most frustrated, my angriest, repeating the word thank you, whether I feel it or not, will begin to shift my thoughts and then slowly begin to ease that tension that I've built up. So for example, getting up and walking to the bathroom, especially if it's a little bit far from where you are. Now, in my office, it takes about a minute or two to walk to the bathroom. And that's wonderful. So what I did was, as I walked, mindfully as I could, I would say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you with each step that I took. I'm not saying it out loud, people would think I'm crazy. When there were no people there, I did say it out loud, quietly. But thinking, I would think, thank you, 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 thank you. And you can see as I do this here and now, a lot of my tension has melted away. My voice has evened out. And this can be a wonderful practice, beginning practice, before you buy the book. Repeating the word, thank you, thank you, thank you. Going to the bathroom, going to a water cooler. If you have a backyard, walking around your backyard when you can get outside. Another way is to write, keeping a gratitude journal. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Towards the end of this video, I will explain to you one of my most commonly used gratitude practices, which is keeping a gratitude journal. So, keeping a gratitude journal, either at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. For me, it was best at the end of the day because the morning I'm groggy, I wake up very slowly. So for me, at the end of the day was the best. But some people are different. Some people meditate better in the morning and some people meditate better in the evening. I'm a nighttime or evening meditator. In the morning when I try to meditate, I do this. So, match your lifestyle. Everything is able to match you and your particular characteristics. Now, there is one misunderstanding to gratitude that I would like to mention. Some people believe that being grateful for what is will prevent you from moving forward, from creating something new. I've heard a few students ask me about this, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Particularly people who have studied the law of attraction. Under some teachers, they walk away with a misunderstanding, and I think the teacher did not teach this, but they walk away with a misunderstanding that giving too much attention with gratitude to what you have will only create more of what you have, will not allow the things that you have to move out of your experience to allow new things to come into your experience. So they were afraid that keeping a journal of things that they were grateful for here in their experience would prevent them from their developing in the future. That is not the truth. That is not the case. Gratitude does not prevent anything. Being grateful for what is will not lock it in place into such a way that you will be closed to new things arriving. Locking things in place is a form of resistance. Greed, hoarding are all signs of resistance. Gratitude is the opposite of that. Gratitude, the deep sense of gratitude, or if you prefer appreciation, I like gratitude. Some people prefer the word appreciation. Yeah, both of them are states of almost the most allowing. They're not going to fix anything into place because fixed things are things that stagnate and die. Gratitude is a power, an emotion, a power of life and growth and development. So there's no need to be worried about gratitude for what is preventing your growth and moving forward. And there are many ways to practice gratitude. I mentioned a couple. Write a gratitude journal at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. I would suggest writing 10 things. Now what can we be grateful for? 10 things. Well, some might say, well, there weren't 10 things I wanted to be grateful for yesterday. I stayed inside my house. I couldn't go outside. What should I be grateful for? Well, there are many things to be grateful for, and that's why I recommend the book. You get to explore different things to be grateful for as well. But just here for this moment, we can be grateful for everything from the past to the present to the future. You can be grateful for things that happened to you yesterday, last year, when you were 5 years old. You can be grateful for things that are around you now and for future things. Having gratitude for the new job that you know that you were going to have the opportunity to move into is a great way of moving into that new job before you actually get confirmation. Now, being grateful for this job appearing before you, being grateful for it, knowing that having seen the position, having encountered it, it is now included in your experience. Being grateful for that. We can be grateful for many topics as well. Money, be grateful for the money that you have. Be grateful for our health. Be grateful for our relationships, past, present, and future. Be grateful for the opportunity to study. We can be grateful for the work that we do, whether it's a paid job or the work that we do around the house to nurture ourselves and the people that we live with. We can be grateful for the things that we wanted, for experiences that we are having and have had. The experience of a sunset, we can be grateful for that. We can be grateful for grades that we get at school. We can be grateful for the food we eat, yeah? That's why in so many religions, in so many spiritual practices, taking a moment and being appreciative for the food that we are about to eat and then after eating, is such a common practice from the time that we are children. Now, saying in the Christian tradition, saying grace before and after a meal is a wonderful practice when it's conscious, when it's a conscious and felt prayer of grace for the sustenance that we are receiving. We can be grateful for not only the food that we have, but all the people who have created that food, who have allowed that food to come into being so that we can take advantage of it, partake of it, share it. We can be grateful for nature. We can be grateful for the sun. We can be grateful for air. We have such an abundance of air. We can be grateful for that. We don't have to be grateful for it, but we can be grateful for that. We can be grateful for water. We can be grateful for the rain. People in California know what that means, being grateful for rain. And also other parts of the world. But from my experience living in California, we are grateful for the rain, especially in Northern California and Southern California. When you eat things, think of all the steps that it took to get that food to you. From the seed that was planted, from the person and the people who nurtured that seed, who harvested the fruits of the environment, who packaged them, who cleaned them, who shipped them, who stored them, who put them in a place where you could find them, who sold them to you. All of those people who are part of the food that you are intaking. Or if you grew it yourself, be grateful for the action that you took in growing that food. Be grateful for the sunlight, the nutrients of the soil. We can be grateful for our emotions. We can be grateful for the feelings that we had, positive or negative. Now, be grateful for the positive emotions. That's a no-brainer. You can understand that. But what about being grateful for the times when you were angry, when you were sad? Because those emotions taught us, if we allowed them. Those emotions taught us, and we can be grateful for that, for the growth that we experienced from those negative emotions. Another little trick that I learned with gratitude is to have a gratitude rock. Yeah, there was a man, I think in South Africa, but don't quote me on that, I think in South Africa, who, with his son, decided to pick up a rock and carry that rock, a small rock, a smooth pebble, like a river rock, carry that rock in his pocket, and every time he touched that rock, it was a reminder to him to think of something to be grateful for. And that can be a wonderful practice too. I mean, writing a journal is wonderful, but that's like 2 times a day, or once a day. And yeah, during the day, we want to try remembering, oh yes, I want to remember this for my journal. But having a rock in your pocket is something physical, tangible, that you can touch. And remind yourself, what can I be grateful for right now, right here? So, gratitude. There are many ways to do it. And it helps us to move in the direction of the most allowing and most powerful emotions of love, joy, pure awareness, well-being. And once we're in that state, knowing that we are taking advantage of the powerful, powerful force of intention that is moving us in the direction of the life we want to live, the life that we are creating, the life that we have chosen for ourselves. And let me here tell you about my gratitude practice, my gratitude journal. Forgive the paper. So, my practice. My practice was, I tried every morning. I did try every morning, but it ended up being better in the evening. I would sit with a pen and a journal. I liked keeping a notebook. I liked having a notebook that was beautiful to me to look at because it helped get me there. Yeah, having a journal that I appreciated aesthetically. made me want to use it more. So having a journal that I liked was the best. I also used a spiral notebook when that wasn't available, but having a journal that was meaningful to me was wonderful. And I would sit down, and I had two ways of doing this. One was to set a timer for 15 minutes. Another was to decide on how many entries I would put, for example, 10. But for example, let's say you decide, okay, I'm busy, I don't have that much time, and 10 is going to take too much time. So at the beginning, maybe set a timer for 15 minutes. And then I would usually write around 7 topics. I would think of 7 things that I am grateful for. And when something from the previous day didn't spring immediately to mind, I would use things like the sun, the weather, the air, the clean water, the breakfast I have waiting for me, or the dinner I had just eaten. And I had a pattern for my gratitude journal. I had a pattern for how I would begin each entry. Yeah, why am I saying this in the past tense? I have a pattern. Yeah, I'd start with, I am so happy and grateful for, or that, and then I would complete that statement. The next might be, and I am truly grateful for, and that. And then I am very grateful for, or that. Yeah, I'd have a pattern that I use. And that pattern helps make the writing process easier. I know how I'm going to start the sentence. So once I've thought of the topic, for example, the air. So this time it's, I am so happy that. So I am so happy that the air that I breathe is so clean and nourishes my body. For example, is a very easy way to begin that entry. And it's not necessary to have patterns, but for me, having patterns helped a lot. And I'll put those entries of my pattern in a box right here. So those are just some possible patterns. The words are not as important as the feeling. Remember, the words are the doorway towards the feeling. What we're moving towards, what we are hoping to move towards, is a deep feeling of gratitude. The words are the door. And then we want to step through that door into the feeling. And if you can't reach that deep feeling of gratitude, it's not necessary to beat ourselves up about that. Yeah? Trust that as you continue this practice, the more you will be able to access the feeling behind, beneath, around the words that you are saying. And then perhaps for a time you will lose that feeling and you need to just keep writing. But that door will open again and you will be able to step forward, step through it. It helps to be as specific as possible. Having a clear image of what you are grateful for helps a lot. It helps us to focus and to think of other things. For example, I'm so happy for today is a nice thing to think about, but it covers so much, and you could break it down into several things like the weather, the air, the sunshine, the temperature. Having a focused topic helps because we don't want to just end with I'm grateful for this. We want to add in because. Having a reason for being grateful helps us connect more emotionally to the topic. So for example, let's see, I have one here. Rain, yeah? I'm so happy and grateful for the rain that we had yesterday and last night because it cooled the air, which made it very easy to sleep. The sound was very relaxing, and I loved the fresh, clean scent of a rainy day. And suddenly I'm connected emotionally to that rain. Explaining why I am grateful for it helps with that emotional connection. Just saying, I'm so happy and grateful for the rain yesterday is nice, but saying why, focusing on why you're grateful for it, helps us move through that door into the feeling of gratitude. Here's another one. This one is a compliment that I had received. It doesn't have to be a big compliment. Somebody might have just said, "Oh, you look nice today," or "Oh, good job," or "Is that a new shirt?" I mean, something just as simple as that can, if we receive it for the compliment it is, can be a reason to be grateful. So here's one entry for a compliment. I am truly grateful for the compliment that I received on my way to the store yesterday because the man's kind words made me feel appreciated and connected to the flow of intention. I recognized that having received that compliment was an indication that I was already in the flow of intention and moving forward. I was open to receiving a compliment. If I had been stomping to the store, grump, grump, effing grump, I probably would not have received any compliment. Even if the man thought, "Oh, that he looks handsome," or "He looks nice," or "That's a nice shirt, that's a nice hat," whatever. The man wouldn't have said it if I didn't look open to receiving it. And the reason I probably looked open to receiving it was because I was open to the flow of my intention. So, being as specific as possible, writing the reason for being grateful, are wonderful parts of having a gratitude journal. So friends, that is my practice. And sometimes I stop. Yeah? Sometimes I leave off that practice in favor of something else, but I always go back to it because it is such a fundamentally helpful practice. And remember, being able to access the feeling of gratitude or appreciation is the way for us to open. Negative feelings close us off, turn us upstream to the flow of our intention and make us work hard, make us struggle and strive and lose our power. Being open and allowing and grateful and then loving and joyful opens us to the powerful force of intention in our lives. That is always available to us, whether we are allowing it or not. So friends, that is my take on gratitude. I hope this was meaningful to you. And I'd like to hear what you think. Do you have a gratitude practice? If you do, tell me below. If you can imagine what a gratitude practice could do for you, how could it be helpful for you? What do you think it would be helpful for in your life? I'd like to hear about that below. Hit the like button if you feel inspired to. Remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the alarm so that you are aware of when I upload videos. And also, if you feel called to, if you know someone who might benefit from hearing a little bit about gratitude, share this. Share this around. I'd be very grateful for that as well. I'd be very grateful for that as well. And friends, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness, and deep gratitude. Thank you.